Hi, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. I get a lot of people asking me and Beth questions about how you can get different aspects of running a YouTube channel up and running. So people say, you know, I've been running a week and would you give me a shout on your channel and all that. I've already talked about YouTube cracking down a little bit on this and treating it as spam, but it's inevitable that people will ask if they see some kind of measure of success. They're going to ask you, how did you do it? And we come in for a lot of criticism because we maintained right from the start that we were going to run a feel-good channel. Now, I also get messages from people who are advising me how to run a channel. So I'm getting both ends of it. Well, the people who tell you how to run a channel talk about branding. How do you brand yourself? What's your little thing that people remember about you? Well, it's really easy. I mean, if you were always seen riding a carabao, then you might be the carabao. We unconsciously brand people all the time. We have a family of kids that we started to get to church and to help. A charming family, we called them the Carabao Kids. We branded them, and now Beth and I refer to them. You know, that's we know the eldest girl is Geraldine, and the other kids, just charming kids, and we would see them even down to the tiniest one riding these huge carabaos. Well, there's branding for you. So I would like to think that our brand is to be a feel-good channel. Now, boy, this doesn't sit well with a lot of people because they want to be able to speak freely, which is understandable. They want to be able to speak freely in the most critical terms, and some like to use profanity, some like to be caustic or abrasive in their way. Now, and they tell me, well, you know, one person a long time ago said, you are so incredibly naive, and your deleting of critical, nasty comments, which are freedom of speech, will find you out. Well, this is the way that my and Beth's maxim is, that we will stand or fall by the way that we think things should be done, and the way we think things should be done is to be a feel-good channel, so that when people come to this channel, boy, are we not bombarded by bad news all the time? Are we not bombarded by it? When we turn the TV on, if we turn the radio on, if we look in a newspaper, what's the dominant tone of the news that we see? And it is about murder, mayhem, war. I know that there are, I mean, there's always the cartoons. That was always the feel-good page for me, especially in America, where on a Sunday, certainly, that made it worth buying the newspaper, so that I could just look at the cartoons or the comics, and I could throw most of the rest away. So the feeling good is really essential. Those who say otherwise, well, they have to go somewhere else. Now, why would you do this? Well, is there any validity in the idea that if a person is on public media, social media, then they should be up for taking the bad stuff with the good stuff? And is that true? Well, I don't think it is true. I don't think that that holds water. I don't think that that's a valid viewpoint. When you decide that you're going to do a YouTube channel, you are the arbiter of the quality of that channel. And you have to ask yourself right at the beginning, what kind of subscribership do I want to attract? Now, why is it necessary to be thinking about attracting a certain kind of subscribership? Because when anybody ever writes a message to me saying, I'm a new subscriber, I always say, welcome to our YouTube family. And if it's a lady, I put a rose there, the little icons. Now, if it's a man, I guess I put a thumbs up. I make it a personal thank you for not a personal message other than those words. Now, I'm welcoming someone into my life. That's what's happening when you start a YouTube channel. You are making your life an open book, if you're being completely honest, and I like to think that we are. You're making your life open to certain comments. Now, when you walk out the door as a human being, and you go to work, and you go to play, and you may go to a bar to have a drink with the guys, you may go to Starbucks to have coffee and, I don't know, cheesecake or something. You open your life to people to share, to some degree, about you and what happens in your life, your family, your children, your mother, father, sister, brother, your house, your home. And you are opening yourself to what? People who will come in and say, oh my God, that tie you're wearing, that sucks. I don't think so. If you were to walk in and you were to meet a group of people and you were going to interact, say, at a party or a group. When I was in Florida, I was part of a writers group, and I bonded with certain people and remained friends with them, and others I didn't. Now, how did I view that? Well, if I felt good in the company of someone, I welcomed them as a friend. This seems like a no-brainer, doesn't it? So why should it be any different when you have a YouTube channel? You're providing a forum, a platform for others to make comments about your life and about what you've done, whether you have a creative building project, whether you're building a house, whether you're, I don't know, whether you're writing a book, or just how you talk to your wife. How you react and interact with your family, how you're seen as a person. People are going to gravitate toward you if they feel that you could be a friend. And in exactly the same way, you are going to view those who come to you and come to your channel in the same way. I choose the people that comment regularly on a regular basis. I choose to include those as my friend, even though they are internet friends, and it's not quite the same. But believe it or not, I've made great friends who I would just love to meet face to face, just by doing what we're doing now. So here's a word for those who have said to me, in recent time, in recent days, I've been asked, how do you get Patreon? How do you get patrons into your Patreon account? How do you get subscribers? Can you subscribe to me? And those that do that, in the hope that of thousands of subscribers which we have, which we've worked hard to get, will go to them. And it's all fair. But this is how I think it should be done. You have, so 3 basic questions. How do you get Patreon? How do you get subscribers? How do you get monetized? Now, we've had friends who have started their own channel, and in a fairly short time they're asking, well, how do you get monetized? Well, you have to, instead of me going into, well, you have to get this much money, and then you get that many views, and then you get this many subscribers, and then they monetize you. Instead of me doing that, what is the emotional, ethical, quality feel of what you do? Now, when Beth and I started, we thought it would be fun, and we didn't. And I've heard this from another family who also had the same realization, that they were doing it for fun, and then suddenly they realized that, hey, you get paid to do this. Well, my first recollection of getting paid was 17 pesos. I remember that. Beth remembers something differently. I think that she remembers 160 pesos or something like that, or $1. But anyway, we just found it was fun, and we were terrible at it in those days, as many people will say. Yeah, they're quite right, you were bloody awful. We often didn't get our sound synchronized, so I would be going, yes, yes. It would be all wrong. I'd have finished my sentence in the sound when I started going, no, and people would write in, you're not synchronized, get synchronized, get another microphone. We had a lot of complaints back in those days. Well, we did our best, and even now, somebody just said on one of our videos, I think from today, the sound was terrible, could hardly hear what you were saying. So, how do you get Patreon? How do you get subscribers? How do you get monetized? I think that you do it by focusing on the content of what you do. So, do you think whether this is going to make money? No. Do you think it's going to get you subscribers? No. Do you think it's going to get you Patreon supporters? No, you don't think about any of that. You do not think about money. Now, I'm sure that there are people who say, oh yeah, oh, right, yeah, you're not interested, oh wow, great, yeah, you think I'm stupid. It's been found in research, when they've researched in companies, doing market research, doing labour research, how people feel about their job and everything. Under fine research on polls of employees, they found that recognition, receiving an award for work well done, was more valued from a feel-good viewpoint than receiving a bonus. Now, obviously, people like to receive the bonus as well, but what makes them feel best is like McDonald's. What do McDonald's do? They've got it down to a fine art. Any of the fast food companies have this down to a fine art. They send the employee of the month to a photographer, or get somebody in that takes a picture. They get it, they print it up, put it in a frame, and they hang it on the wall. and it says, Joe, Employee of the Month. Well done, Joe. We're proud of you. And you know what? That Joe seeing his picture on the wall, Employee of the Month, and wearing a little badge or something that says Employee of the Month. Hey, look at me, I'm Employee of the Month. This makes the man feel good. So, you don't think about the money. Now, here's the other thing. You don't think about how to find subscribers, because there are millions out there. Millions. Some of these well-known, there are some subscribers. There's one in the Philippines. Apparently, he has 1 million subscribers. Now, do you think that he sat down and said, now, how can I get 1 million subscribers? I don't think he did. I think he went out, and I think he did what we are doing. He went out and he did things which were fun. A little while ago we stopped. We'd made up our minds that we were going to stop at this pottery that was by the side of the National Highway coming back from, I think, Trinidad. Coming back from Trinidad to Talabon, and we'd seen these really nice pots that were at the side of the road. You go down a few steps into a lower section from the road, and there's a pottery. And for me, as an artist, this was pure joy. You can't fake that. For me, I looked at the potter's wheel and I said to Beth, look at this. This has been made out of a truck wheel and bearing, and the tire is still on there, on the wheel itself, onto the axle which has been cut off. And the man sat on a seat, a simple, not, believe me, just two pieces of wood that were like this, and he sat his butt on this, and he pushed on the tire with his foot. Now, it's a huge tire, so once it starts moving, it keeps moving. So a few paddles like this with his foot, and the thing is spinning as round and as beautifully as any motorized potter's wheel. And you can't fake the artist's joy that I felt. You can't fake it. So much so that the man was, I just said to him, this is just so great. It's all on video. And he did no more than sit down. He got a piece of clay like this, and he whacked it down on the thing, and he centered it. And while we were watching and oohing and ahhing, he made a pot. And it was as quick and as simple as that. And it was that way because he was skilled at what he did. And watching someone who is skilled, you can't fake that. Now, is everybody going to be interested in a potter's wheel? No, they're not. No one's going to be interested in that. There will be people who are going, oh, yeah, next. And there are people who will love it. Now, when you're setting up your channel, do you go into a crystal ball and say, crystal ball, you are all-knowing, what will be my... No, you don't do that. You don't say, how can I get 1 million to like what I do? And by the way, what shall I do? You go and you find your own inner voice. You find what you love to do. You find your sense of magic about the world. Now, for me, coming to the Philippines, I have an innate sense of magic because looking at how things are done by people who have so few resources in so many cases, how did they do it? And I see little houses made up of branches of a tree put together, and tied, not even nailed, tied with plastic rope. And that's the only modern compromise, the only compromise with modern life is that string, the plastic string. And if they didn't have that, they would make it out of bamboo, which they make so many things out of, out of bamboo. So, content. You look at the content, you don't think about any of the rest. Now, what kind of subscriber do you want? Now, you can't say, I want a subscriber who will say this or that, but you can say, what is the emotional content of what I want my subscribers to say? And if you want to provide a forum for people to debate and at times get heated and angry and perhaps do a swear word or so, you know, nowadays even comedians go on and an effing blind, as my mother used to say, is doing a lot of effing and blinding, isn't he? Now, that may be your scene. You might like the what I call confrontational conversation. And if it is, then you go for it. And you find subjects that you can make videos of which will spark debate. And that will be your thing. Now, with us, we said that we're not going to do that. We're going to have a feel-good channel so that when people finally click off, they're going to feel better, not feel conflicted, which is what the confrontational type of critical, bitching, back and forth, winning, losing, we don't go for all of that. Now, are we right or wrong? Right, now, let's keep it hypothetical. Let's not look at what we've done. How will we know whether we're right? So we make a stand right at the beginning, knowing nothing about how we're going to do this. Beth and I said, is anybody going to be interested in our simple life? Well, we took a chance and we said, this is our simple life, and this is Nanai, and this is Beth's sister, and this is, you know, this is a so-and-so child, and this is, we just did that, and here's the goat, and there's the dog, and the cat, and we're trying to build a house, and we're doing just us, and it kind of had an appeal. And then later, because you must allow for evolving, later it began to change and we started to help. Now, were we right? Well, we certainly enjoyed a measure of success, and we are enjoying a measure of success. So if you are watching this with interest because you are trying to get a channel to take off, do what you love doing. Say what is really in your heart. Say what is really your opinion. And in doing so, you will create the channel that is good for you. And it may be nothing like ours. It may be exactly like ours. There are other channels who they don't do the swearing, they don't do cussing, there's no profanity, there's no questionable material. They're not showing women with their breasts half hanging out. They're just doing everyday Filipino life. And that's where we elected to be. Right or wrong, we will, in the end, we will see. Okay? So, monetized as your subscribers increase, so the monetization will come. Should you worry about that? I don't think so. For 3 or 4 months, we never got a single penny because there was some kind of glitch in the way that they present their contact us information, that said contact us, and when you clicked on contact us it said what's your PIN number, and now you are having a question. Oh, you have a question? Okay, how can we help you? But before that, what's your PIN number? And our question was, what's our PIN number? So you can see that provided a problem, because we didn't have a PIN number, so we couldn't put in PIN number because we didn't have one, and that was the problem. But they had to have a PIN number before they would take our question. So we never got anything, and we didn't lose the money because whatever the money was kept coming in and coming in and coming in, and eventually we got it, which was a big relief. In fact, you'll see one of the videos. Finally, we get our AdSense money. So, don't worry about Patreon. Don't worry about subscribers. Don't worry about monetization. Have fun doing what you love, pointing to those things which are magical to you. And you will stand or fall by that. That's my opinion, and I stand or fall by it. Hope you're well. Hope you're getting ready for Christmas. Thanks for watching. Thanks. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Bye for now.